Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. The friction between the two chambers of Congress becomes more apparent after the archiving of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment. The Senate and House of Representatives are now trading very harsh words, bordering on the personal.
And we also hear from one of the very few senators who were against archiving the impeachment. In a little while, we speak to Senator Kiko Pangilinan about his vote and other issues rising amid the political noise.
And the Vice President's defense team is not done yet, preparing to respond to the motion seeking to reverse a Supreme Court decision that ruled in her favor. Nevertheless, Team Sara is celebrating a very big win.
Bakit sila nagmamadali?
Ano kaya kung yung speaker nyo na lang ang paltan nyo?
Hindi po ito mariresolba sa pamamagitan po ng pag-atake sa aming House Speaker. Ang issue po dito ay accountability.
The House of Representatives and several groups are still steaming after the Senate's vote yesterday to archive Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment complaint. They ask why the rush to kill and bury the ouster move. But senators are adamant they did the right thing and the legal move. Mobile journalist Mary Mon Reyes with tonight's big story.
While senators were voting to archive the impeachment complaint, members of Tindig Pilipinas and Akbayan could not have made their dismay any clearer. A thumbs-down gesture that caused them to be escorted out of the session hall gallery. Pro-impeachment personalities found senators' move disappointing and disturbing.
At hindi na naman nga po ako nakatulog. Ang hindi po namin maintindihan kung bakit pinilit nilang may archive. Bakit sila nagmamadali?
Nakakahiya itong ginawa ng Senado. Napatunayan nila na indeed sila nga ay Duterte Senate.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez shares the disappointment. He said to archive Duterte's impeachment is, in effect, to bury the case altogether, despite the earlier ruling of the Supreme Court to block it not being final yet. Romualdez believes the High Tribunal found the House's motion for reconsideration serious enough to require respondents that include the VP to reply. Romualdez insisted other lawmakers had more colorful words.
To make patol is human, to deadma is divine. So, deadma na lang kami.
Such as a perceived jab at Senator Amy Marcos, who took a swipe at the House Speaker as she was explaining her yes vote to archiving the impeachment.
Kesa inaatupag ninyong palitan ang pinili ng taong bayan. Ano kaya kung yung speaker nyo na lang ang paltan nyo? Kaya nyo yan.
On the day after the Senate vote, the President's sister and cousin to the Speaker clarified this was just a suggestion.
Kasi yun naman talaga ang ugat ng lahat na ito. Politika naman talaga at ambisyon ng isang dambuhalang sanggol. Bawal bang sabihin ang katotohanan? Wag nilang minamasama. Hindi naman ako nakikialam. Hindi nga kami sumasagot kapag iniinsulto kami ng bonggang-bongga.
Amy likewise claimed some congressmen are no longer happy with their current leader.
Nung araw ng SONA, maraming nag-aabang. Nababalitaan ko rin yung mga umaalma. Maraming abangers. Di ba? Sino ba nagsabi nun? Maraming nag-iintay. Pero hindi dumating. Ang bas-bas.
For Senator Amy, the blessing is now with her friend Sara Duterte, whom she texted right after the Senate vote of 19 yeses, 4 noes, and 1 abstention. The Vice President answered with a simple thanks. But is the impeachment really over? Even Marcos said revival is not impossible at this point.
Yes, it's dead, but it's not really buried. But yes, it's dead. In effect, because it's in the archive, sumusunod lang kami sa batas at sa Korte Suprema. Kaya nga tinatawag na Supreme Court yan. Alam nga naman na Super Supreme Court pa kami, katulad ni sabi ni SP, o Supremer Court pa kami, o may Supremest pa. Wala namang ganun eh. Talagang Supreme Court.
So ang kaibahan naman nung motion na pinasa natin ngayon na in-archive na siya, na sinunod yung Supreme Court decision, pinatay na siya. So kung ma-reconsider ng Supreme Court, pwede mong buhayin.
As the SC decides on the House's motion to reverse its decision, the Makabayan bloc is already vowing to refile the petition. House prosecutors also reminded Filipinos of the issues Duterte should answer to.
Yung taong bayan po ay nanatili pong nagtatanong. At tinatanong po ng taong bayan kung nasaan po napunta yung mahigit kalahating bilyong piso na nawawala po. Tinatanong rin po ng taong bayan kung nasaan at kung sino si Mary Grace Piatos. So, ito po, hindi po ito mariresolba sa pamamagitan po ng pag-atake sa aming House Speaker dahil ang issue po dito ay accountability. Ngayon, ang tanong ko po, ano po ba ang iniiwasan at pinoprotektahan nila?
Mobile journalist Marymon Reyes, We Are One News.
He was among those who voted against a motion to archive the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. And joining us tonight is Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Welcome to the Big Story, Senator.
I thank you for having me, Ces. And sorry, the screen is very small. And to your
Shawn and Pauline are with me here in the Big Story. We really did want to ask you about your plans for agriculture, but we will set that aside and get there. But in the meantime, you voted against the archiving. What would have been a better alternative for you? I recall that you also were suggesting that the Senate constitute itself as an impeachment court.
well, the best for me, what we should have done was just wait. Kasi may motion for reconsideration yung House of Representatives. So ibig sabihin, the ruling is not final, no? And because it's not final, it can be reversed, it can be modified. So ano ba yung problema ng maghintay, no? Hindi
By
rin tama.
waiting, ano pong action ang dapat gawin? Wala, scrap lang muna yung...
Oh, we wait. It's still with the impeachment court. In fact, that was the other issue. How can the Senate archive a complaint that was not referred to it? It was referred to this Senate impeachment court. So it should have been the Senate impeachment court that would have acted on it, no? Not the Senate. Walang jurisdiction yung Senado in plenary sa impeachment complaint because the exclusive jurisdiction is with the impeachment court, which has the sole, diba, power to try and decide it.
But you are part of the majority, and being part of the majority in the Senate allows you, I mean, to express contrary views. You don't have to be aligned with your companions in the majority.
On matters of transcendental national interest, no? We vote with our conscience. Besides, Miriam Defensor was with the majority, but she voted to acquit Corona. Like I said in one of my explanation of my vote when I supported Senate President Escudero, the likes of Senators Arroyo, former Senator Arroyo, former Senator Pimentel, they were aligned with the majority, but they would, on many occasions, depending on the issue, be considered a majority of one. So, yes.
I'm curious, Senator Kiko, if as early as now you're already talking amongst yourselves, I'm talking about the senators, senator judges, kung ma-reverse yung decision ng Supreme Court, like, have you discussed like Plan A's, Plan B's, and whatnot?
No, wala pa. Besides, I'm not yet a senator judge until we haven't taken our oath. So yun. So now it's it's archived, unfortunately, and we are waiting for the resolution of the motion for reconsideration.
Archived, but can still be resuscitated, according to the view of Senator Ping Lacson.
Yes, because we didn't dismiss it. There was no motion. It was amended. Had it been dismissed, then the Supreme Court may rule that it's been moot and academic, but it is not dismissed. It's been archived. But then again, your fear is the Supreme Court may rule, no, you didn't archive it, you dismissed it, which is what they did, by the way, in the when they voided the House, the impeachment complaint that was filed by the House, which is, for me, a lot of factual inaccuracies.
Senator Tito Soto did say that archiving for him means it's as good as dead. Do you also share that belief, Senator Kiko? And also, if we were to resuscitate it, for example lang, no, that the SC rules favorably for the House or with the House, how would we exactly resuscitate it?
Well, there are many, it's going to be a debate. For one, I would say, if it is revived, if the Supreme Court reverses itself, the archiving, for me, we will argue that has no legal effect and that the impeachment court must convene and rule on the impeachment complaint, assuming that the Supreme Court reverses itself, of course. In other words, the Senate does not have jurisdiction. I will insist on that. Walang jurisdiction ang Senado sa impeachment complaint. Ang merong jurisdiction under this, ang ating saligang batas, na may exclusive jurisdiction on the case would be the impeachment court, who has the sole power to try and decide it.
But I'm also curious, Senator, what do you think are the chances of the Supreme Court reversing its ruling, since this was a unanimous vote? And what happens if they do not reverse their ruling? Can a motion for reconsideration be filed again? Because I believe there is precedents where an MR was filed about 3 to 4 times, and the Supreme Court revisited its decision. Yes.
5 times in the League of Cities case. But yeah, well, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. It's also very difficult to speculate. First, what's the ruling about? What will they, if they modify it, or what does that mean? But one thing is for sure, is clear. That MR, the motion for reconsideration, is an opportunity for the Supreme Court to correct what we believe to be serious factual errors. What did the Supreme Court do? It rendered the House of Representatives impeachment complaint void. It rendered pretty much the Senate impeachment court, it nullified all the acts of the Senate impeachment court. I mean, if you do something as unprecedented as that, the least Supreme Court could have done was check their facts. And that's why the motion for reconsideration is an opportunity for the Supreme to correct.
Yes, Senator. What struck me in your manifestation was when you said, how can you be right about the law when you are wrong about the facts? And I wanted to zero in on what the Supreme Court did, and that's to rely on a news article instead of official records. Even former Justices Carpio and Morales raised a compelling argument about that. I mean, how serious is that in terms of legal terms?
Well, the facts are the basis of your ruling. Was there grave abuse of discretion amounting to a lack of jurisdiction? Therefore, whatever, if you don't have jurisdiction, whatever decision you made is void ab initio. So if the facts are wrong, then your ruling, is wrong. If your facts, it turns out your facts is in a hypothetical case that you didn't kill the person, but the court did not appreciate the facts and said you did. Therefore, your ruling is unjust, unfair, unjust, and that's what happened here. They said the 1-year bar. Prevented the fourth complaint. The constitutional requirement that prohibition of 1 year after a first complaint has been initiated, you cannot have a second impeachment. It should be barred. And problema, the initiation of the first three did not occur. Its archiving occurred after the fourth impeachment complaint was referred Senate, transmitted to the Senate. So there was no first or second or third initiation because what they acted on and initiated was the fourth complaint. And then they archived the three.
Senator, Senator Marcoleta had
Your
said that he
1 year bar,
didn't...
so your prohibition of your 1 year bar, the facts behind saying that the fourth complaint is barred by one year, the 1 year bar because there were three other impeachment complaints that was initiated is wrong. It's factually incorrect.
However, Senator Marcoleta pointed out that many of the congressmen did not even read the impeachment complaint, and this was one of the questions asked by the Supreme Court. It seems that they had knowledge about this occurrence.
Yes, that was alluded to in the complaint. But in the end, do we want, for example, to go into this questioning that it was a 97-page complaint? It was a 97-page complaint. 3 days of the 15 days, there was no work in the Supreme Court. Do we want now to say, did the justices, before they signed the 97-page complaint, were they able to read it? Of course, out of courtesy and respect for the co-equal, we will assume that.
All right, which leads to this question about concerning interparliamentary courtesy. Senator Amy Marcos is in her explanation of her vote and also in her press conference is urging congressmen to change the Speaker of the House, to vote him out.
What's the question?
What can you say about interparliamentary courtesy that should be observed if it has come down to these attacks against certain personalities? In point, Amy Marcos against Speaker Romualdez.
I think that question should be directed to her.
All right. My next question is, do you think you put up a good fight yesterday for your point of view?
Well, we placed it on record. What's important is it's on record that there were four of us, five, who pretty much did not agree with the majority. And that's, that's important, so that in future deliberations, our opposition would be is on record.
Because by your very point of view, the vote was useless because you said wala ngang jurisdiction ng Senado eh. It's supposed to be the impeachment court. So if it did not have jurisdiction, then what was that? What are you archiving?
Exactly, and that's what Senator Soto also, manifested. It was, in fact, he said, the impeachment complaint was, filed in the Senate. The Senate remanded it to the House. So it's the impeachment complaint now. Senate in plenary. What are we archiving?
Did you think, Senator, that you should have been sworn in first, or would that have been like a bigger obstacle to try to hop over?
Well, we already saw the numbers. So clearly, ideally, we should have been sworn in first. Pero yun nga nakakalungkot na may ruling ang Supreme Court. They were insisting that there was a ruling of the Supreme Court. It's immediately executory, and therefore we have to make a decision. And five of us disagreed. We said no, we don't have to make any decision. In fact, sabi ko, kung tumahimik lang tayo, naghintay, hindi ba? Dahil nga may MR ang House, that's also interparliamentary courtesy and respect for a co-equal.
Senator, okay.
Order of the court. We would
Nag-freeze kayo konti.
Pero talagang hindi ko alam eh. Talagang gigil na gigil tapusin. Nakakalungkot dahil nga, you know, and I said this also, what the Supreme Court did, in effect, nullified, you know, all the acts of the impeachment court. But the Constitution says we have the sole power to try and decide impeachment cases. And because there is still a motion for reconsideration, the least that we, you know, we actually abdicated our constitutional mandate and duty to uphold and defend the Constitution as having the exclusive jurisdiction over the case and the sole power. This is not, you know, the Supreme Court is not above the Constitution, unfortunately. And worse, they did that with a misapprehension of the facts, basing it on.
Yes. Oh, it seems like what's happening now is everyone is debating about technicalities and procedure. So do you think we are being led astray to the essence of the impeachment process, which is to hold public officials accountable?
Well, that's precisely why, you know, the whole impeachment case is under the Section 11, which is public accountability. But regardless, you know, it does not, who the respondent is in this case, we will get to that eventually. But what's important is precisely at this point, you know, that the power, exclusive jurisdiction and sole power of the Senate was
Senator,
rendered. Yeah.
okay.
Ang malungkot dito mas mahirap na rin ngayon. In fact, ano bang ginawa ng Supreme Court? Kaya dapat talaga tayo'y umaapela. In the end, respetuhin natin ang magiging pasya ng Korte Suprema. Pero sabi ko nga, habang hindi pa final ang pasya, bakit natin pipilitin? And number two, ano ba ang nangyari doon? Mali yung facts nila. Diba? Mali yung facts. ABS-CBN actually came out with a statement affirming that the attribution to them was mistaken. So kung mali yung facts, ano ba yung ginawa nila? Diba? They amended, you know, the Supreme Court amended the Constitution by putting more requirements in the second mode, yung 1/3 of all members of Congress. Nagdagdag sila ng 7. And so they amended the Constitution. They nullified a case that was already in the Supreme Court with the impeachment court, and then they nullified the impeachment complaint. So sana buhin nila because this is really very disturbing.
Senator, the ball definitely is now in the Supreme Court's court. So babantayan natin yon. For now, let's table this and we'll go to kind of a slightly table.
Table it.
Yes, we'll table it for now, not archive, table lang. But I just want to set the record straight, no, because the other day our sister program had an interview with Senator Trillanes. He said some things, no, about former VP Leni Robredo, about how you and Senator Bam supposedly kind of asked her some favors, and also na hindi kanya...
Senator Trillanes, you asked Senator Trillanes to delay the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte because it may affect your chances in the elections. Did that ever happen?
I said that?
No, I
Supposedly
believe it was
you
Senator
and
Aquino.
Bam Aquino.
You and,
Was with Senator Bam.
both of you.
Oh no, not me.
Senator Bam. So you were about going up the stage
Yes.
in Pangasinan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Senator,
Alright.
so he did say that about Senator Bam and about you, just to get your confirmation whether totoo daw ba na hindi kayo pinaakyat ni VP Leni sa stage, sa sortie sa Pangasinan.
Dahil sa Rosa, merong nagtutulak ng tandem na Rosa.
Robredo Sara.
Alam naman ng tao yan na in some areas, you know, the locals wanted Leni, and you know, I said that if I have to decrease so that she will increase, that's fine with me. It's a non-issue for me.
Ba't nilaglag ba kayo ni Leni Robredo? in some places?
I don't think so. I don't believe so. It's a anyway, ang sa atin, I think there are more important issues to discuss. The
All right.
impeachment, the
Well,
problems of agriculture.
We will get there. Another thing kasi, parang it appears that the opposition is shooting itself in the foot. Senator Trillanes, former Senator Trillanes, is casting doubt on Leni Robredo. Para kayong nag-aaway-away. It was perceived that you abandoned Risa.
Ayos na yun. Hindi naman totoo. Ba't kayo nakikinig sa mga intriga, di ba?
But why? Why is this going on? It seems that you are
This is par for the course, you know. It's part of the opposition's, how do you call it, efforts at bringing everyone together. Kasama yan. So wala problema yan. Yeah. Kasama yan, but I know and I believe in the end, diba, this is fireworks, ika nga. Nangyayari yan. Pero I believe in the end, magkakaisa rin ang aming hanay.
So solid pa rin ang opposition? We just want to have it categorically straight from the horse's mouth, Senator.
You know, one day is a long time in politics. So, I'm not worried. You know, maybe it will get you sound bites, or it will get you more views, or more subscribers because it's a controversy. But in the end, mas mahaba ang pinagsamahan namin. Nina Bam, nina Sani, ni VP Leni, ni Risa. Mas mahaba ang aming kasama. Si Risa, college pa lang, pareho kaming aktivista. No? Si Leni, Macy's pa lang ni Secretary Jessie, mayor pa lang. Siya yung sumasalubong sa akin dyan sa Naga. Si Bam, ako ang campaign manager niyan noong 2013. Si Sani and I, we were together in the opposition. So there are more reasons for us to come together when the country requires it. And I also believe there will be, I, for example, gave up my Senate bid in 2022 because Leni asked me to run. And I think we've gone through a lot, all of us, and we've fought side by side. And so this hidwaan or konting tisnisan, maayos natin yan. I am not worried about it because I know there's more reason for us to unite than for us to be at odds.
Well, Senator Risa Ontiveros actually...
Kalma lang.
Okay.
But yes, Senator, so Senator Ontiveros did our sister program also earlier that there is an effort to unite the opposition, especially in the next few months. Actually, sabi niya, 9 months, parang buntis daw. You're going to see how it unfolds first. But are there any plans from the opposition, if you are the real opposition, to strike an alliance with a third force, probably the Marcoses, as you look ahead to 2028?
Wala pang pinag-uusapan. Ako, 2025 pa lang ang iniisip ko dahil marami akong pinangako sa ating mga kababayan sa mababang presyo ng pagkain at pababain, suportahan ng ating mga magsasaka.
Okay. So agriculture was really the primary reason why you wanted to be part of the majority and to have control of the Agriculture Committee. Now,
and mind you, it's even beyond the leadership of Senate President Escudero, although of course that is part of the whole effort. In fairness to the President, and because he has publicly said repeatedly his desire to address the challenges in agriculture, I think this is the first time that a president decided to become Secretary of Agriculture. So
no, it's not the first time. GMA wanted to do that too, but
she didn't do it.
Well,
No, she
any
didn't do it.
well, the burning issue now, Senator, is the.
No, no, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
All right, go ahead.
My point is, if the president is sincere, and and I'm willing to help him, I think we can do a lot. Because I've seen the problems of agriculture.
Okay.
I faced the challenges of bringing down rice prices in 2014, 2015, and I succeeded.
That's
I was
where.
able to.
That's actually
and that's
my
why-
follow-up question because the burning.
Let me finish. I'm finishing.
Okay.
And we were only able to do that because the president then gave me his full support. So I can do this again and help the Secretary of Agriculture, but we need the president's support. And getting the chairmanship of the Committee on Agriculture, I said that in the beginning. I'm willing to set aside politics, walang kulay ang gutom. So we intend to shake things up, and I hope, and if the president is sincere, we can help each other make it happen.
Right now, he is addressing the flooding of rice importation by banning the imports for the time being, but this needs a greater policy, one of which is funding the NFA so that it can be able to influence the market. So is that part of your legislative agenda?
When I was NFA chairman of the board, for the first time in the history of NFA, we rejected overpriced bids 4 times, not just 1 time. And we saved the government 7 billion. So I know how to put in place safeguards to ensure that the importation of rice by NFA is transparent, open, and we get the best price for whatever we're buying.
But they don't import anymore.
But again, the president has to buy into it, the proposal. So we are reviewing the rice tarification measure.
I was going to ask, are you going to amend it? Because Secretary Tiu Laurel said he has reached out to your office and you have had some preliminary talks. Are you going to champion the amendment of the rice tarification law in the 20th Congress?
I believe it has to be revisited, yes.
It's urgent, isn't it?
Yes, it's, of course. Food prices are very expensive. How do we bring it down? So, yes, that is important. Bottom line is, hindi tama na masyadong mataas ang hunger incidence, masyadong mataas ang presyo ng bigas at iba pang bilihin. Rice is one of the biggest drivers of inflation. When we brought down rice prices from 15% inflation to 0.8% inflation from June to June 2014-2015, by September of 2015, because we tamed rice inflation, inflation nationwide was lowest in 20 years. When rice prices go up and stay up, everything stays up. When rice prices go down, everything else follows. So if we want to address bringing down the prices of goods, basic goods, we have to manage rice.
One final question on the ICC detention of President Duterte. It was brought up by Senator Trillanes that you thought it would affect your chances in the elections. Did that ever come up? And what is your
I'm not sure.
position
I'm not sure he referred to me. I read all the articles. He didn't mention my name, so I don't know why you're asking
Or
me.
maybe it was Senator Bam Aquino. But what is your position on
I hope you
this?
clarify it, diba? Because you're asking me that he said. I read the articles that he didn't mention my name, so I don't know which article that is.
No, the question is your position on him facing the trial for crimes against humanity.
I was one of 5 petitioners questioning our withdrawal from the ICC. That's Pangilinan versus Cayetano. And there we argued that, the Senate had to have concurrence. We objected to the withdrawal from the ICC. So that has been my position since, and it hasn't changed. Yeah.
All right. We thank you for your time, Senator Pangilinan. That was Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan, Chairman of the Agriculture Committee.
Thank you.
And just one day after the Senate vote that archived her impeachment complaint, Vice President Sara Duterte seemed to be in a celebratory mood. In photos shared by Davao City Councilor Luna Acosta on social media, Sara is seen attending a Thanksgiving gathering with her legal team and allies. Acosta, who was one of the petitioners to block the impeachment of Duterte before the Supreme Court, wrote in the caption, "Thanksgiving celebration with VP Sara Duterte, the legal team, and the petitioners who pushed for the dismissal of impeachment against VP Sara. Ngiting tagumpay." Aside from this gathering, the VP also attended a Thanksgiving Mass and program. She is currently in Davao, which is celebrating its Kadayawan Festival.
Now, Duterte did not comment on the Senate vote yesterday, but her defense team spokesperson, Attorney Michael Poa, said they acknowledged the upper's decision to adhere to the Supreme Court ruling that found the articles of impeachment unconstitutional. Sara's legal team will soon submit comment on the House's motion for reconsideration. The lower chamber wants the SC to reverse its decision to block the impeachment trial.
But definitely, handa tayo for any eventuality. No? Talaga namang naging consistent tayo sa ating posisyon mula pa naman noong Pebrero na unconstitutional itong fourth impeachment complaint that was eventually transmitted as the articles of impeachment.
President Bongbong Marcos sat down with media outlet First Post while he was on his state visit to India. There, he denied any involvement again with the impeachment case against former ally Vice President Sara Duterte. He was also asked about the supposed assassination plot of Duterte against him, First Lady Lisa, and Speaker Martin Romualdez. Here's a portion of that interview.
I've not refused to comment on the impeachment process. I've just said, I've made it very clear that the executive, the president, has very little role to play in that process. So we are of course very interested parties, very interested observers, but it doesn't go beyond that. Well, I think that the political heat, all the noise is toned down.
Charge against her to hatch an assassination plot. You worked with her. Do you think she's capable of something like that? Oh.
I don't know. But I'm really not in a position to say what that's about. But you have to be careful.
Yeah.
But then, in my position, there always is some kind of threat, and we take them all very seriously.
Interview, Mr. Marcos said the Philippines is not preparing for war. That's amid Manila's ongoing military modernization efforts, including a possible additional purchase of BrahMos missiles from India. The chief executive also denied the Philippines is a puppet of the United States, saying such a claim is a misrepresentation of government's independent foreign policy and diplomatic stance. Marcos has now arrived in Bangalore, India this afternoon, the second stop in his 5-day state visit. Bengaluru is known as the Silicon Valley of India due to its large tech industry.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, the National Police Commission is now zeroing in on more police officials who could have been involved in the disappearance of several sabungeros. The details of that when we return. This is the Big Story on One News. Stay tuned.
The Big Story is back with the National Police Commission's investigation of more police officials allegedly involved in the case of missing sabungeros. NAPOLCOM Vice Chairperson and Executive Officer Rafael Calinisan declined to name names for now, but said many of them were high-ranking officials as high as police generals. Calinisan claimed some of them are already trying to intervene in the case. Some of these PNP officers were supposed to have been tagged in other cases. Only most were absolved for various reasons. Calinisan assures there will be no sacred cows in their investigation.
One of them has 13 cases previously. One has 10 prior cases. So yung mga taong ito has homicide cases, robbery extortion, grave misconduct and all of them were exonerated on all charges. We need to file airtight cases. Hindi pwedeng hindi managot ang mga dapat managot. Hayaan nyo na ho kami mag-imbestiga. So, marami na hong nakikialam, marami na hong nagsusubok mag-interfere.
Still on the PNP, a police major may be dismissed from service for allegedly molesting a Philippine National Police Academy cadet. The incident supposedly happened at the PNPA camp in Cavite last July 31. The male cadet told police investigators that he and the official went on a drinking session in one of the barracks. When the cadet got drunk, the officer asked him for a massage, which eventually led to the sexual assault. NAPOLCOM Chief Rafael Calinisan said he had ordered the agency's inspection, monitoring, and investigation service to conduct a motu proprio investigation into the case. The police major has already been charged with acts of lasciviousness in court. Calinisan vowed support for the cadet, adding that this is an isolated incident in the PNPA.
And at this point, let's take a look at the key economic headlines in the country and around the globe. The economy ticks up to 5.5% in the second quarter, slightly faster than the 5.4% recorded in the first quarter. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority show growth among all major sectors, including agriculture and services. Household and government spending have also increased by 5.5% and 8.8% respectively. In the U.S., President Donald Trump has rolled out new tariffs on imported semiconductors as well as goods from India. Chips entering the U.S. now face a 100% tariff, except for those produced by firms with commitments to the country. Companies like Apple, which has pledged a $100 billion investment, are spared. Meanwhile, India has been hit with an additional 25% tariff for continuing Russian oil imports, raising its total rate to 50%, one of the steepest faced by any U.S. partner. And now these tariffs have officially taken effect today, Thursday, 12:01 a.m. U.S. time. Just before the deadline to strike last-minute deals, Trump posted on Truth Social that billions of dollars are now flowing into the U.S. because of tariffs. The average U.S. import duty has now climbed above 17%, the highest since 1935 during the Great Depression. And back here at home, the top 3 richest Filipinos have retained their spots in Forbes' 2025 list of the country's 50 richest. The C siblings remain at the top with nearly $12 billion, followed by Enrique Razon at $11.5 and Manny Villar at $11 billion. Collectively, the group's wealth has rose by 6% to $86 billion, driven by gains in property, retail, and port operations. Also on the list are Ramon Ang, Isidro Consunji and siblings, Kay Ascona family, Jaime Zobel de Ayala and family, as well as Lucio Tan, Lucio and Susan Co, and Tony Tan Katyong and family.
We're going to pause for another very quick break. But do stay around, because when we return, one organization is empowering communities of farmers and fisher folk to help them get a fair share of Philippine resources. We'll tell you all about how Agrea does it when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Welcome back to the big story. Agriculture has long been the backbone of our economy, though slowly going down, and our farmers remain among the most overlooked. They work sun up to sun down, but many still struggle to make ends meet. In the face of these challenges, one woman is leading a transformational social enterprise that empowers Filipino farmers through education, market access, and sustainable farming practices. Agria has helped tens of thousands of farmers boost income, reduce waste, and inspire young Filipinos to see farming as a future and not as a last resort. At the heart of it all, a vision for zero hunger and zero waste Philippines. Here we feature companies that put a spotlight on sustainable initiatives. Welcome to Sustainability. Joining us now is a woman I really admire, Agria President and CEO Cherry Atilano. Welcome to the Big Story. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ces, for inviting me to be here, and it's a pleasure.
What you've accomplished in Marinduque, can that be replicated?
Yes, definitely. Actually, we went out from Marinduque already since the pandemic, because before the pandemic, we're so focused in Marinduque Island for the one island economy, trying to really work on the countryside development of agriculture. In an approach that we have 7,107 islands. So we call it, one island economy. But during the pandemic, we received a lot of requests from farmers all over the Philippines to really help us, not only in Marinduque. So during the pandemic, we were able to help around 30,000 smallholder farmers to sell their produce to the market. And now we're actually working with more than 10 farming communities, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, with our supply chain business.
So you said you just came from Payatas today. Tell us what you were doing there.
Payatas has been a beautiful part of my life since the pandemic. Sometimes we feel like we're so stuck, but then when you feel that you're stuck in your home and you still have food on the table, have access to everything, you have online access, and my company has been helping with smallholder farmers. So we keep donating vegetables in Payatas. We connected with Puso ng Ama Foundation, run by a British-Nigerian priest, Father Paul. And every time I would go to Payatas, I said, giving them fresh vegetables, not enough. Giving them food packs, not enough.
Teach them how to fish.
Yes, we need to teach them how to fish. So one of my visits, we brought 1,000 food packs. And I was almost there in the middle, being stampeded, because when people saw the food, they just rushed. Hunger was really, there, present. And I said, this is dangerous. We need to do something. So I requested Father Paul if there's a piece of land in Payatas that we could convert into an urban farm. So now, since 2021, we have 3 urban farms in Payatas helping 200 women. We have a Garden of Hope in Payatas. We have an urban farm run by OFWs. They lost their jobs during the pandemic. They were in the Middle East. They went back home and they couldn't get back to their work. And then we also have for young mothers in Payatas with ALS program. So this little intervention in Payatas, cleaning up the garbage site. We bought organic garden soil from Bulacan just to put the soil, in Payatas, because it's not healthy to plant direct where the siltation of garbage was. So now we have 45 of these Garden of Hopes all over the Philippines run by women.
Is it just for them to eat, or do they get extra to sell?
So they get extra to sell, but when we started in Payatas, it's not really like, in Agria, we have a farm school. It's actually run by my foundation, the one in Payatas. It's not like, you teach them to sell immediately. The urgent need is you need to eat, to feed themselves, but to aim to plant more so that you can earn income. And every time they get harvest from the farm, they save money, it means income, because saving is income. So we do financial literacy to farmers as well. And aside from that, now they're selling. They actually have bank account now. They are an association registered in DSWD. And it's so beautiful. But I think the most beautiful part of agriculture is really the people. No matter how much technology you have in agri, no matter how much education we do, without the values formation, that we need to see the farmers as solutions of their own problem. We cannot solve it all.
Or hindi parang ayuda.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't do ayuda because when you do ayuda, you don't have sustainability. You know, every year they will ask you for seeds. I was in Payatas. I was amazed because they're now in their 12th cropping season. You're a farmer, Ces. You know this.
Yeah, pero small scale, small scale. I've been to Payatas also, and there are those who have a garden on their roofs.
Yes.
Also, but you have land.
We have land.
Oh, great.
So we have like 3 land areas in Payatas that we converted. They were former empty spaces, junk shops, for example. And some, they have owners. So we talked to the owners. We had like memorandum agreement how to use the land. So the owners are very kind and generous. They said as long as you don't build infrastructure just for urban farm,
And what
please
is
do.
beautiful is it's in an urban area.
Yes.
It's not in, out in the outskirts, so that
Yes.
you're showing that we can do it here. No?
Yes, yes. It's really doable. And actually now, because, it expanded the inspiration to help more women, today what we launched is called Masa Gana at Masustansaya. Masa means, public. Gana means have appetite or drive to do something. At Masustansaya, it's
Ano
because
naman yan?
masustansya, nutritious,
nutrition, sustenance.
sustenance, and sustainable, and saya. It goes all to overall well-being and happiness. So we launched the store, and the products of the store actually are coming from the women farmers in the rural areas who are also part of the Women Food Producers Association. So imagine women in the urban setting like Payatas. Payatas has 1 million population in a barangay, helping women in the rural to have market access for their produce direct. So our goal is...
mas mura pati.
Mura. Our goal is to really make sure that even if it's 1 peso or 2 pesos cheaper compared to the talipapa nearby,
Kasi puro talipapa
Yes.
doon sa Commonwealth.
that's still cheaper for them because if they go to Commonwealth, they need to pay jeepney or tricycle. That's another cost. So there, they just go to the garden, they buy, and then we also bring the produce from.
So you're making an ecosystem.
Yes, it is an ecosystem.
Cherry, was it easy getting these women to get into agriculture and farming? Because there is that stigma, right? Na
Yes.
it's not cool, it's not sexy, you could be doing something else.
Ito na yung pinaka-sexing farmer.
Of course.
We make farming sexy. 2014, right? I said like, okay, I'm here to make farming sexy.
Yeah, 11 years ago.
Yeah, I started Agrea. I said like, well, let's make farming sexy. Answering your question, Maui, it wasn't easy. When we started in Payatas, imagine, how do you teach them to plant when they don't even have food on their house? Kind of domestic violence was also very high because if there's no food, tension at home is very high. And they live in a 10 square meter house where it's really so hot, no? Ang init-init. So we did not teach them how to plant. We taught them how to dream. First question when we met the first 40 women, we said, kaya mo pa bang mangarap sa gitna ng uncertainty? Well, hindi natin alam kung matatapos. Sa gitna ng kahirapan, sa gitna ng, hindi mo alam kung matatapos yung pandemic or buhay pa ba tayo bukas, di ba? Grabe yung iyakan namin, Ces. Yung mga women, grabe yung iyakan. But kasi nangarap sila, ngayon yung pangarap na yon, naging 45 Garden of Hope all over the Philippines. And they chose the name,
Talaga, pero nangarap ba silang magsaka? I'm sure.
Nangarap silang kumita at kumain.
Magkapera.
Yes. Yung pangarap talaga nila is, una, ma'am, sana may laman lang po yung kaldero namin at yung aming kusina, makakain yung mga anak. And then pangalawa, okay tita, okay, pag nakamit nyo na yan, nanay, ano na naman next? Ma'am, magkapera na para hindi na kami magbebenta ng kung ano-ano sa mga jeepney, sa mga buses, di ba? Kasi naglalako sila. Or minsan, iniiwan nila yung mga anak nila. Ngayon, sis, I'm so happy, like today I was there, and they told me, ma'am, mayroon na po kaming savings, 35,000 na po yung savings sa
Yung
grupo namin.
parang community nila.
Yes, we teach
So
them
may
community
cooperative
savings.
sila o
Yeah,
paano?
we have an association. So we have 3 associations in Payatas. Ma'am, yung savings po namin, 35,000 na. Ang dati, pag sinabi mong 2,000, parang hindi nila kayang abutin. Parang ang hirap-hirap niyang abutin. So it's very beautiful. And,
through vegetables. You're
through
proving that
vegetables.
there's money in it.
Yes.
Gulay lang, no?
And we also teach
Anong
them
gulay muna?
marami. So we started with
Pechay,
their
ganyan?
favorite vegetables and what they're
Eggplant.
usually eating. So
Eggplant.
eggplant, of course.
Sayote.
Napakaraming eggplant.
Patola.
Okra, all the sinigang ang pinatbit mix, no? And then malunggay. Kasi during the pandemic, they were given so much canned goods and noodles, right? Instant noodles. So we were able also to teach them how to eat healthier. Kasi ito yung binibigay sa inyo, lagyan nyo ng malunggayan, at least yung sabaw niya, healthy na, no? Lagyan nyo ng string beans, nagiging healthy.
Imagine, and it was a pandemic
Yes.
initiative. The pandemic actually opened doors for your organization to expand.
Yes,
ano?
yes.
Dati Marinduque lang.
Marinduque lang. Tapos, actually, sa pandemic, I think we really built a good organization. It's because it's just two things, right? You crash during the pandemic or you prosper. But I think we did good during the pandemic. It's because, when crisis happens, it's really the hunger that is pressing, and it's a problem that needs to be solved.
Well, there's still a high incidence of hunger. Ano bang advice mo? We just had Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Kaya wala na kaming sorry na kulangan ng time para sa'yo. What advice will you give him and even the president, because they will work together to help address talagang agriculture? Sayang ang potential. The potential is so huge. And you,
Yes.
who has been there for 11 years, really on the ground. Anong
Yeah.
dapat?
So,
anong
11
urgent?
plus so many years, started teaching farmers at
Ay,
12,
oo nga pala.
So, ang layo-layo
So,
na.
sige.
I think what I need to do, what I could advise is to really localize the solutions. It's not like a bottom-up approach because not all areas in the Philippines can grow like national mandate on what to plant, right? And then another one is to really empower the farmers through and through. So like, for example, I was listening to the interview a while ago. I really, of course, I like the stoppage of importation, until for 60 days. But I also like, I think, for the president and the leadership of this country to review the tariff. Just impose high tariff when the farmers are harvesting because it kills them.
Yeah.
When tariff is so little and the farmers are harvesting, bibilihin na lang ng mura sa farmers. Lugi na naman yung farmers natin. So for us, I think review the tariff for rice because it's a staple food. Every quarter, maybe,
Tsaka
to protect
we need
our farmers.
to have food security. We cannot just keep importing when there's
Yes. Yes. So we need to
Ayaw na
plant.
ba talaga ng magsasaka magtanim ng bigas, ng palay?
Gusto na magsasaka magtanim ng bigas sa tamang presyo. At
Nakikitain.
we need to really go back on how to do complete may milling na solution kasi hindi pwedeng magtanim ka wala kang meal.
Nabanggit mo rin yung supply chain. Gano'n ka-importante yun? Kasi it's one thing to plant, di ba?
Kasi yan ang success ng Agria.
Correct.
Who is your biggest buyer?
So Dexo, we feed 60,000 people daily for cafeterias of big multinational companies. So every day, 60,000 meals yung pinoproduce para magpakain ng mga BPO industries and tech giants in the Philippines. Yun yung business namin. So we ship all over the Philippines. Masaya siyang gawin. I eat stress for breakfast every day, lalo na pag may bagyo. Kasi pag hindi lalipad yung aeroplano, barko mo, hindi alis yung barko kasi malaki yung alon. O sige, mag-pray na lang tayo.
Dasal na lang tayo.
Pero imagine, you're giving this livelihood to the farmers na they can feed all these multinationals with their produce.
With direct from
Direct.
farmers to the kitchens of the big multinational companies in Makati, BGC, and Quezon City.
Farm to cafeteria.
Yes. We call it workforce nutrition.
Okay. Cherry, we could chat all day because you're so inspiring. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
More power to you.
Yeah.
That was Cherry Atilano of Agria.
Right, and that's it for the Big Story this Thursday. Thanks so much for watching.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
We'll be back here tomorrow at 7:30 as usual. See you then and have a good night.